Actually, you go that way and you go into that platform. Just so you don't get wet. Yeah, but you don't get wet running down there. But how do they know that? How do they know when to bring it up and put it down?
Well, honey, they have a system. They've been doing it long enough. I'm sure they know what to do. Oh, yeah, that's cool.
Real one.
That's a real one.
Yeah, that's cool. I saw somebody wearing there's like a little slip.
Hey, Helen? Yeah, let's go down here. Is that your water right there? No, can I have that water? True to form, she waited till the last minute. Oops. Yeah, right.
camera.
Yours?
Look right at me.
Hey, I'd like to welcome everyone to the Lackawanna coal mine. My name's Tony and I'm going to be your guide. If anyone has any questions about anything, don't hesitate to ask me. If you want to take pictures of anything, go right ahead. I only ask one favor. As we're going through the tour, please let me lead the way at all times. I'm going to try to give you an idea where we are right now. We just come down the 190 slope in the Clark bed of coal. We just descended 1,350 feet on a 25-degree angle, or what the miners would have called a 25-degree pitch. Now, what if you wanted to get back out? We'd have one other way. That'd be straight up, right through this rock above your heads. 250 feet, and we'll be right back outside looking down. So now, if anybody's going that way, let me know. I want to watch. Give me an idea what that's like. It's about the same as a 25-story building hanging above our heads right now. The Lackawanna Coal Basin starts right here on the West Mountain in McDade Park and goes down into the valley and comes up on the East Mountain, or the Montage Mountain. If we happen to look straight across from where we just got into that trolley, you're going to be able to see the ski slopes on the Montage Mountain. East to west, they run 7 miles. They also go north to south, back under Scranton, all the way down below 3A. They run 33 miles north to south. This is one of 4 anthracite fields in northeast Pennsylvania. Now, if you were to turn around and look behind you, everything. That's what keeps that rock above our heads, and that's what keeps us from going down. When the miners work it, they work it in what they call the room and pillar method of mining. They come right down that slope, the same as we've done, right down in here to their gangway floor. That's right where we're standing today. And every 60 feet, they drill and blast and work their way back up. Well, as they blast the coal loose, it runs down by gravity. Remember, we got that 25-degree pitch working for us. But as they're working their way up, they're also working their way over. Every 20 feet, they must connect these rooms or chambers with what they call a crosscut. It serves the purpose of bringing fresh air from one chamber into the next. And as they're working their way up and over, they're also putting these things in. These are what the miners call props or timbers. By law, they must be in every 5 feet. And now then, get everybody just to stop and think for one moment. If we could just picture what this would look like under that 25-story building. Everybody changed over to that. As the coal loose, naturally it runs down by gravity. But about every 250 to 300 feet, they put a new gangway floor in, and they'd start from there, back out again. It's what the miners called their level. But that one right there, we can only get down about 100 feet. From there down, everything else is underwater. So now if you look up here, you're going to see exactly the same thing. Here you'll be able to see that room and pillar method of mining. On 60-foot centers, they drill and blast and work their way back up. As they blast the coal loose, it runs down by gravity. On top of here, they nail an old wooden chute, and then have a man tapping the coal right into the cars where we're standing today. But as you work your way up, you've got to remember one thing. We still got to support that rock above our heads. So that means we got to leave a pillar of coal on the right and a pillar of coal on the left. And every 20 feet, we're going to connect these rooms or chambers with what they call a crosscut or a heading. As you come by, you'll be able to look over. You'll see a crosscut right here. The old miners used to call it robbing out or robbing the pillars. They'd start mining backwards, coming back towards this slope, taking these pillars of coal out they left the first time through. But now once they've done that, you can just imagine what happened. Over the years, the weight of this rock would start peeling and carry subsidence insurance, just in case of an emergency. But it's actually part of the main shack.
First trip.
What happened was
Second.
part of the thing that drove from this side of the mountain back to the shack as well. So they drove the slopes off, that way they could bring the coal from this side of the mountain.
I remember my parents all went back here.
Not to the bottom of that slope. As they moved up and got a little more modern, approximately 5 tons of coal, and he got paid 60 cents a car. Now the thing you see behind me right there is nothing more than a pit. The same thing we could see in any garage. The mine does stay 50 to 55 degrees year round. That way if they had to work on these cars, they could back them right over those pits. That way they could change axles or wheels or anything else that had to be done. Period fell off of that perch and died. That's when the miner knew it was time to leave. Well, as they moved up and got a little more modern, they replaced the canaries with the thing I have in my hand right here. This is known as a safety lamp. We still use this today. If we were to check for methane gas, we'd hold that lamp right like that. If that gas would be present, our flame would shoot right up against the top of the lens, just like that. Carbon dioxide or black damp, remember, all it is lack of oxygen. So if we were to take the oxygen away from that flame, it's going to drop right back down inside, or it could possibly trickle and go out. That's how we'd still test for those gases today yet. Well, once we were done doing that, we'd have to get this loose so we could ship it on out. What we're looking at right here is what the miner referred to as his face of coal. One this thick, he probably would have drilled about 12 holes in it. He would have had to drill those holes 6 to 8 feet deep. When they first started, this was the drill they used. The miner would put this up against his chest and he'd start pushing and cranking. His 2 helpers would have been hanging onto his back, helping to push. If they were lucky, in about 6 to 8 hours, they may have got those 12 holes in. Well, as they moved up, they got a little more modern. They got that electric mule. But at the same time, they come around with an electric drill. Looked right like this one, about 30, 40 pounds. But now we got to remember, they were working in water. They were wet. So this was none of their better ideas either. Well, as they moved up again, they went to the drill you see our 2 miners using over there. That's known as a pneumatic drill or an air drill. We still use that today. It runs completely off of air, and it definitely doesn't shock.
And it was basically the same kind
Is that
of...
around Ashland, is it?
Huh?
Is that around Ashland?
Yep, Ashland, Pottsville, that area.
Ashland, is that the one where the underground the fire is?
That's Centralia, that's right north of Ashland. Okay, as we go back through here, we're going to be going through a rock tunnel which is going to connect us to the Dunmore 1 and the Dunmore 2 beds. You're going to get to see what the miners called low coal. Right now we're in the Clark bed. Right here it's about 15 foot high. Well, the Dunmore 1 bed's 18 inches. The Dunmore 2 bed's 30 inches. They worked those in their hands and knees and on their bellies. In return, they gave them a nickname. They called them monkey veins. So wherever you happen to see the rock painted orange, it is a low area. Watch you don't bump your heads. We're going to be going back around the turn of the 19th century.
Watch your head there. Et après, c'est bien arrivé. Et après, c'est pas de ce qu'on a.
Once the mules were down here, they never seen daylight again. Their stables and all were right down inside. The approximate life of a mule down here was 7 years. But now the average life of a mule is about 25. But like we all know, mules are stubborn, and so are these. A lot of times they try to buy what's known as a carbide light. From that light, they went to the electric light I have on my own. Before that, they used what was known as a coal oil light. I'm going to show you one of those later. Those are the old miners would have called a roll or a fault. The Appalachian Mountains have faults in them, the same as our San Andreas fault in California. If you take notice to that rock, it rolls around right like an ocean wave. Well, everything that's up against that's right.
I can't see, it's not going anymore. See that one finger that has a little red at the bottom?
Shirt up.
I have a question.
Yeah.
How much did the fire boss get paid?
Most of the fire bosses got paid on the number of tons their men put out in a day. So the more you made, more money you made for him, the more he took care of it. Okay, if everybody can see our miners up in here working. What we're looking at right here is the Dunmore 2 seam of coal. This is also what the miners would have called low coal or monkey veins. This one on the average runs around 30 inches. Well, when the miner got here in the morning, the first thing he'd do is strap these on his knees. These were his rubber knee pads, and he'd climb right on up in there. But once he was up in there, he was soaking wet all day long. He'd drill and blast his coal, and he'd work it down into his chute. The one we're looking at right here is a little more modern. This is known as a shaker chute. It shakes back and forth, and the coal comes off the end. The men that worked up in these monkey veins were still expected to load at least 3 cars of coal a day. That's where everybody tried to stay on the good side of that fire boss. But back then, most of our miners only lived to be about 30 or 35 years of age. If they weren't dead, they probably couldn't have worked any longer anyway. Most of them ended up with arthritis or rheumatism that bad they could barely move. Or they'd have what we know today as black lung or amphisilicosis. The coal dust settled into their lungs and they could barely breathe. Now, I've got extra knee pads if anybody would like to go up. Now I'm going to meet you right back here in this room. Okay, what we're in right here is what they call an airlock. If everybody can hear the roar on the other side of those doors. Our air shaft's located over there. The roar you're hearing is our main fan up on the surface. It's drawing that air down the slope, through the mine, and back out that shaft. But now the purpose of the airlock, before they had the powerful fans like we do today, they used to place these airlocks every so often through the mine. By doing that, all they had to do was close these doors. The air got down to those doors and it was trapped. It couldn't come through, so it forced it up into the chambers where the men were working. That's how they got fresh air up to them. The boy you see right here was known as the nipper boy or the door boy. He was 6 to 10 years old. His job was to open and close these doors all day long as our 5-ton mine cars passed on through. But back then, the doors wouldn't have been made out of this flimsy tin like we have. They were made out of heavy oak planks. The only light he had back then is this coal oil light we see on the boy's hat. Well, that threw off about the same amount of light as 2 birthday candles. These boys worked 12 hours a day, the same as a miner. They got paid as little as 9 to 10 cents an hour.
Na voljo eres na pipa, nije se da poloves na pipa. I'm with you. Data na nije se
Up on top on the 30-foot offset. It draws that air down the slope through the mine and back out this pipe. Now to get the system, I'm going to show you how much air is coming out of this pipe.
There we go. Yeah. Anybody know her? Here's a goodbye.
Bye.
There, let's give her a hand. Hey, now there's one other thing. This also serves as our second opening. That means if anything would happen to that trolley we come down on, this is a way you're going back out. Up on top, there's a capsule enclosed in a cage that comes right down inside this pipe. I can load 3 of these at a time and send you up to the surface. It works right like an elevator. The cost of this system for this mine was $500,000. If anyone would like to see this, when we get back out, when we crawl out of the trolley, if you look straight ahead. They'd working onto that tin, it'd slide right down through. Then there would have a man lifting this board up and down and working that coal cart underneath here. When he was done, he'd have it loaded, just like the one we saw out there. But now we can imagine them working coal down here a whole day long. All the dust. That mule boy with that old carbide light, he would have had about that much. But now let's not forget that little nipper boy with that old coal oil light. Right about there is what he had a whole day long. But then if anything happened to our light, we'd be right like that. But what the miner would have done then is to slide his foot along the bottom, looking for that metal rail. Once he found it, he'd slide his foot out along it, trying to find his way back out. Now, does anybody have any questions besides when are we getting out of here? They were here, when the miners were here, they treated it and steered them their friends. When the rats had leaving.
Come here. This is the last one.
We got one behind us. It says $4,000, between $4,500 and $5,000 measurement. Not bad income. 6 days a week, it's $30,000 a month a week. $30,000 a week times 4.
What's in the front, Josh? A lot of stuff.
Got a toe up around here, buddy.
All right.
Oh, cowboy.
Or not here, did it?
Now we're going fast. I can't. 90 miles an hour. How fast are we going? Right, 5 miles an hour. You're not going to get over. No way. I can walk. Right now. I go back there. Woo! Yo! I found something. It's raining. Oh, back!
Back after the news, we're going to give out the awards for the flower contest by the Rotary Club. Here's Sam.
Smile. When you're laughing, oh, you're bring on the way.
You're listening to AM 1400 WEST Easton Phillipsburg. We'll be back.
Pretty big.
Come on up here. Here you go. That's a boy. Okay, now like I said, my name is Scott. It's nice to see you. Is it hot out there? Yeah, it's hot out here too. It is, isn't it? Yes, it is. But anyway, I told Stanley that we were doing Easton Heritage Day today. I said, Stan, what could you do to entertain the kids? Now, Stanley told me that he does impersonations. That's what I do. Now, I didn't know you did impersonations. But you know now. Do kids know what impersonation is? That's when you talk and you sound like somebody else. You can do that? That's what I can. Okay, would you do an impersonation for the group now? Sure, wish I do. I tell you what, why don't you do an impersonation of Scooby-Doo? No, I can't do him. All right, well, how about Donald Duck? No, I can't do Donald Duck either. All right, how about doing an impersonation of President Clinton? I thought this was a family show. Okay.
Do me a favor.
Let's give you one.
Mom, can I go?
What?
You'll have to forgive me. The wind is not our friend today. I'm not gonna get all zen on you guys. I promised these guys I wouldn't. This song really says it all. That's all I'm gonna say. Just check out the lyrics.